Welcome to the channel, guys. We are back again for another First Impression Fridays, and today I'm going to be talking about two Fragrance de Bois fragrances. The first one is Oud Bleu Intense, and the second one is London Oud. So stay tuned for that. And if you like first impressions, clone comparisons, top 10 lists, and fragrance reviews, hit that subscribe button for more great content. So Fragrance de Bois is actually a brand I haven't had a ton of interest in. I think I tried one of their other fragrances, I forget which one, and it was okay. I guess something about the brand just didn't appeal to me in general, but I decided to give them a chance, see what all the fuss is about, because I know a lot of people do really like Fragrance de Bois. And both of these did sound pretty good, and I think I've heard Oud Bleu Intense is actually really, really nice. So I decided to get these two samples and check them both out, see what they're all about. I'm going to start with Oud Bleu Intense. Precisely for that reason. I guess I have some expectations on what this one is going to smell like, but without further ado, let's get into it. So, let that dry a little bit. That's pretty strong. I can get a bit of a smell from here. Now, you know, it's funny because I mean, it's not just the name, but I do seem to remember people saying this one did remind them of like a niche blue fragrance. And I mean, on first impression, I'm not really getting that impression. It doesn't actually feel that blue to me. There is definitely a woodiness in the background, which does remind me of what I sort of associate with oud. So I'm going to assume that's the oud. And it has that sort of slightly rugged, different kind of a woody smell that really no other wood really smells like. Now, I would say that there's definitely something floral in there. I almost want to say there's iris because there's something a little bit fluffy. Kind of sweet. It feels like, it's weird. It does feel a little bit cake-like, but it's actually very hard to describe, but it is that sort of robust kind of almost powdery kind of feel. Now it does have a little bit of a clean quality to it, a little bit of a slight soapiness, I want to say, and maybe that's why people kind of refer to it as a blue fragrance. But again, this is not striking me like any other blue fragrance that I've actually smelled. So if this does give off that impression to some people, to me, I don't really pick it up. There is something here, I would say a slight spice as well, but there's something here that's a little bit warm and inviting. I want to say off the bat, this is my favorite so far. I haven't tried a lot of their fragrances, so obviously that's not the best sort of I can't make the best comparison with the brand because I've really only tried a couple of their fragrances. But this one is actually quite nice. I'm actually going to go over to the next one, London Oud. I'm kind of hoping this one is stinky because London smells bad. No, but seriously, I think I'm kind of hoping this one's stinky just because if you've smelled Tom Ford London, reminds me of an unwashed armpit in the best kind of way. I think when I picked this one out that I was just thinking that name in my head and thinking, oh, this is going to be stinky. But I don't really remember anything about this fragrance or why I picked it. I'm guessing that's why I picked it, but let's find out if it has that kind of vibe to it. That's very fresh. So this is definitely worlds apart from Tom Ford London. It's fresh, very light and sort of breezy. Like there is an almost, I want to say it's ozonic actually. It feels like a very light sort of airy aquaticness, which makes me think more of actually an ozonic characteristic. I mean, it is a little bit sweet. There might be some florals in this, I don't know, but it's very light, very airy. It's quite refreshing. Honestly, this would be On opening, very nice for the spring, maybe even the summer. Don't detect any oud whatsoever. So there isn't even any woodiness that I really get off this, at least right off the bat. That might sink in more in the dry down or in the mid, but right now this is very fresh, very uplifting. It's bright, but it doesn't have any really citric elements to me. Maybe some kind of light floral in there, I'm not sure, but it is definitely that sort of very bright, airy, ozonic kind of feel to it. Interesting. Definitely interesting. Not what I was expecting, but also not bad. But I'm going to go back to Oud Bleu Intense, see if it's developed at all. There is something in this that actually gives me a slightly kind of a gourmandy quality. I do get something now that does remind me a little bit of like a bluish kind of fragrance, although it still doesn't smell anything like any of those other blue fragrances, but there is something in the background there that does sort of give an impression of this sort of blue, clean, not shower jelly, but that kind of a vibe in general. Like borderline aquatic really, but not, again, not aquatic either. But it is very fresh. It still is quite nice. It's not as fresh and as light as London Oud, but it does definitely have that quality. There's something, again, a little bit warm and inviting about it. I'm definitely starting to get more of that blue nature, and it really just feels almost like, if you can think of it like maybe ocean waves minus the saltiness, I kind of get that vibe with this. Instead of saltiness, it has like a little bit of a sweetness there, which gives it a very pleasant feeling, but it does really give that sort of flowing water kind of vibe. And it's funny because the woodiness that I initially got in the opening, I don't really pick up any of that anymore. So it does come off to me much more like a very blue fragrance now than, say, especially on the first spray where I did get hints of that oud. And this now comes off a lot more like a blue fragrance. Pleasant, very enjoyable. I think very versatile as well. Gonna go back to London Oud, see if it's developed a little bit. Maybe it's got some of its funk. No, it still has, like, it still is light and airy, but it's not as light, not as ozonic. So whatever it was really giving that sort of burst of sunlight in through the ozone layer kind of thing, it doesn't really have that anymore. And there is something that is strikingly familiar about this fragrance. I don't know what it is. Maybe it's one of the notes that's being used here. But it's okay. I gotta be honest, I don't find this one to be that good, at least off the first impression, whereas Oud Bleu Intense strikes me as something that's quite interesting. Again, just that full, like, sweet kind of ocean vibe that it has going is really, really nice. So, I think that's going to be it for the first impression. This is definitely, I think, a better sort of initiation or better feeling. London Oud is definitely not the winner here today for me. Oud Bleu Intense, definite winner. London Oud, light, airy, maybe a little bit floral or something like that. It's not bad, but it doesn't appeal to my personal taste. I think it's something that'd be really great in the summer if it is something that you enjoy. Casual wear, definitely. It's just so light and airy that I think it would work really well in the springtime. Definitely casual because it does smell like quality, but it doesn't have this overly luxurious feel to it where it would feel out of place. It just seems like a very laid-back kind of fragrance. I mean, this Oud Bleu Intense is actually really quite good. It feels very versatile, like a lot of blue fragrances. So I think, I mean, it doesn't scream spring-summer to me the way that London Oud does, although I think you could wear it spring-summer. It probably could be worn in the fall all year round, really. And it's really nice. It's really enjoyable. It's very versatile. I think you could wear this most anytime. Now, it isn't something that seems exceptionally formal, but I think you could wear it up a little bit. It does seem a little bit more laid back than like a real suit and tie kind of a fragrance. But it does certainly have a lot of qualities that I think make it something you could wear to work. You could wear it during the day. You could wear it out. Just because overall it is a very appealing fragrance. It is very easy to wear and it feels very enjoyable in that respect. Anyways, guys, I think I'm going to end the video there. Do you guys have any favorite fragrance du bois? Leave a comment down below and let me know. And as always, don't forget to hit that like and subscribe button, and I'll see you guys in the next video.